The poison was already burning through my veins when I realized the truth. My own mother had just murdered me, or so she thought. My vision blurred. The crystal wine glass slipped from my fingers, shattering against the marble floor of the Langford estate dining room. The metallic tang of arsenic coated my tongue, and my throat constricted like a vice. This was it. After surviving insurgent ambushes in Kandahar, after infiltrating terrorist cells in Eastern Europe, after becoming one of the Army's most decorated shadow operatives, I was going to die at my parents' dinner table. Oh God, Michelle! My mother's voice pierced through the fog, but something in her tone was wrong. Rehearsed. Hollow. What happened? Did she have a heart attack? My brother Dylan's voice carried that familiar smugness. Through my fading consciousness, I could see him leaning back in his chair, expensive watch glinting. Not panicking. Waiting. We need to call an ambulance. I wanted to scream, but my body was shutting down. No. My father's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Too risky. Take her to the cellar. We'll handle this quietly. Handle this. Not save her. Handle this. And in that crystalline moment, I understood. This wasn't an accident. This was an execution. My own family had just tried to kill me. But here's what they didn't know. The daughter they discarded had become something else entirely. Something dangerous. Something unbreakable. Hi, I'm Michelle Hart, and this is my story. Welcome to Valor Voice, where we share tales of courage, betrayal, and survival. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to tell you will make you question everyone you trust. They dragged me to the cellar thinking I was dead. They were wrong, and that mistake would cost them everything. To understand how I ended up poisoned, you need to understand the Langford estate, an empire of lies it was built upon. 40 acres of manicured grounds in the Virginia hills, a mansion screaming old money. Langford Defense Systems, a multi-billion-dollar empire supplying weapons technology to governments worldwide. My parents didn't just have money. They had power, and power demands sacrifices. I was that sacrifice. I was 14 when I realized it. One of their famous dinner parties, politicians, military brass, corporate titans. I had spent 6 months building a fully functional robotic arm from scrap parts. It could grip objects with precise calibration, respond to commands, adjust pressure perfectly. I was so proud. I burst into that party with my invention, held high. Mom, Dad, look what I made. I found them with a senator. It's a robotic arm. Watch. I demonstrated, commanding it to lift a wine glass. Perfect execution. My father glanced at me. 1 second, maybe 2, then turned back to the senator, smile replacing his momentary distraction. As I was saying, Senator, our new missile guidance system has a 99.7% accuracy rate. But Dad, Michelle, not now. My mother's tone was silk-wrapped steel. You'll have to excuse our daughter. She's going through a phase. A phase. 6 months of work dismissed as a phase. Then Dylan arrived, tennis racket over his shoulder. Golden boy smile dazzling the room. Did I mention Dylan won the state championship? My father's voice boomed with pride I'd never heard directed at me. Our boy's a natural leader. Harvard's already scouting him. The room erupted in congratulations. I stood there, robotic arm dangling uselessly, completely invisible. That night, I dismantled my creation and cried into my pillow, understanding that in the Langford family, there was only room for one golden child. And I wasn't it. But Dylan's golden shine was cheap plating over rust. When I was 15, it crashed through literally. 2 a.m., shouting, our front door slamming. Dylan stumbled in, reeking of alcohol and something chemical. Behind him, my father spoke to a police officer. I understand, officer. We'll handle the damages. I appreciate your discretion. Money changed hands. Dylan had crashed through a storefront while high on cocaine. You were driving tonight, my father told me. Not asked. Stated. What? No, I wasn't. Yes, you were. You'll tell the police it was an accident. You're a minor. Dylan's future remains intact. That's lying. Dad, no. His hand crushed my shoulder. You will do this for your family. I won't. Dylan did this. The slap came fast. My cheek exploded with pain. Ungrateful, my father hissed. You're done. No more allowance. No more privileges. From that night forward, I became a ghost in my own home. They stopped acknowledging my birthdays. I'd pass my mother in the hallway and she'd look through me like furniture. Dylan got a new car. The police report vanished. I was 16 when I packed my bag. $300 saved from odd jobs fixing neighbors' electronics. I'm leaving. My mother sipped her coffee, not looking up. My father cut his grapefruit. Dylan smirked. Goodbye, Michelle, my mother said flatly. I walked out through those iron gates, 17 years of memories weighing on my shoulders. They discarded me like trash. But trash, refined by fire, becomes steel. The streets taught me hard lessons. I bounced between shelters, worked double shifts at diners. I was hungry, not just for food, but for purpose. Army recruiters found me at a job fair 6 months later. You've got fire in you, kid, Sergeant Martinez said. We can turn that into something useful. I enlisted at 18. Boot camp was brutal Georgia heat, drill sergeants screaming, obstacle courses that left me vomiting. But I thrived. While others complained, I pushed harder. My mechanical skills suddenly became invaluable. I could field strip weapons faster than soldiers twice my age, improvise solutions that shouldn't work but did. The turning point came in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. My unit got ambushed, RPGs screaming, bullets everywhere. We were pinned down, comms destroyed, cut off from command. I looked at the destroyed radio, at spare parts, at the enemy's communication tower. 15 minutes. Bullets singing overhead. I built a signal jammer from scrap. Enemy communications went dark. Our air support arrived 3 minutes later. 17 lives saved because a discarded Langford daughter knew how to build things from nothing. That mission put me on the Vanguard's radar. Alex Reeves had silver hair, scars mapping his face, and eyes that had seen horrors. Michelle Hart, Vanguard Special Operations. We train operatives for missions that officially don't exist. Infiltration, extraction, wet work when necessary. It's brutal. Most wash out. Interested. When do I start? The training made boot camp look easy. Waterboarding until we broke. Sensory deprivation for days. Wilderness survival with nothing. Learning to kill silently, efficiently. Over 11 years, I became someone else. Someone deadlier. Panama, Eastern Europe, countries that deny my presence. I earned my black badge, level 5 clearance, access to intelligence most generals never see. The army became my family. Valor became my creed. But the wound from home never healed. I was 29, just finished a Romania mission, when my phone rang with a deleted number I still recognized. Michelle? Sweetheart, it's Mom. Sweetheart. She'd never called me that. We've been thinking about you. Your father and I, we want you home. Time to reconcile. Time to be a family again. Every instinct screamed, trap. But that 16-year-old who'd walked away was tired of being unloved. Family first, right? My father's voice joined. Come home. Let's start over. I should have said no. Instead, okay. When? 3 days later, I drove through those gates. 13 years since I'd left. Nothing had changed. They waited like a perfect family portrait. Clarissa in pearls, smiling too warmly. Theodore in his tailored suit. Dylan wearing a watch worth more than most cars. Welcome home, sis. Dylan's hug was too tight, and something predatory flickered in his eyes. Dinner was a production. Finest china, crystal glasses, silver service. Conversation flowed too smoothly rehearsed. Dylan, kept checking his watch. My father's hands trembled. My mother's smile never reached her eyes. Then came the wine. "A 1982 Margaux," my mother announced. "To new beginnings." She poured my glass first. They raised their glasses. I raised mine, and I saw it, the briefest exchange of glances, the way they all watched me, not each other. Surveillance formation. I took the smallest sip. The wine hit my tongue. Metallic. Wrong. Arsenic. Subtle. Expensive. Meant to look like a heart attack. They'd poison me. I had seconds to decide. I chose to play dead. Glass shattering. Body convulsing. Slumped forward. Heart deliberately slowed through breathing techniques. "Oh God, Michelle!" My mother's Oscar-worthy scream. "Should we call 911?" Dylan asked smugly. "No." My father commanded. "Too many questions. The Pentagon deal, any scandal kills it. The seller, we'll say she left upset, disappeared. Unstable veteran. By the time anyone finds her, too late to prove anything." They dragged me through the house, down to the wine cellar, cold concrete floor, click of the lock, retreating footsteps. I waited 30 seconds, then moved. First, expel the poison. Fingers down my throat until nothing remained. My training included chemical resistance. The sip wasn't enough to kill if I acted fast. Second, escape. Modified hairpin for my braid, a lockpick I always carried. 45 seconds later, click. Third, evidence. My father's office, computer still on. USB drive from my boot heel, copying everything. Fourth, Dylan's car keys. I drove his Porsche away from that house of lies. At a motel, I finally let myself shake. My family tried to kill me. I called Alex. They poisoned me. I need to know why. 6 hours later, check your mission logs. You've been erased. My Vanguard alibi records deleted. Traced to Langford Defense Systems. They weren't just killing me. They were framing me. But for what? I holed up for 3 days, surviving on coffee and rage. Alex connected me with Brooke Sinclair, corporate litigation attorney. "If there's dirt, I'll find it," she said. What she found froze my blood. "You were removed as beneficiary from the Langford Family Trust 4 months ago." "Why?" "This." She showed me a contract. $5 billion Pentagon defense deal. "But your problem." "I am a decorated veteran with a juvenile record." "I don't have." "Car accident. Reckless driving. Age 15. Dylan's crash. They'd manufactured my record anyway. They've been building a case. You're unstable. PTSD, erratic behavior. You die, heart attack of a traumatized veteran. You survive and accuse them, clearly delusional. Either way, neutralized. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned. "We need proof," I said. Brooke called Jasper Kane, forensic genius. He analyzed the police report. Amateur hour. File created 3 months after the incident. Someone backdated it poorly. He pulled up traffic camera footage. Your brother, clear as day. They buried this. We needed the smoking gun. That came from Ethan Voss, a forensic accountant supposedly dead from a boating accident. I found him in Montana, terrified. They tried to kill me when I found the embezzlement, millions through shell companies. When the Pentagon started background checks, they panicked. You were the loose end. He handed me a USB drive. Recordings. Your mother discussing, eliminating the problem. Financial records. Everything. I had my weapon. 6 weeks building the legal case. We filed simultaneously, civil suit and federal criminal charges. The day we served papers, I drove to the estate. Security tried stopping me. I showed my black badge. Federal business. Opened the gate. My family was in the library. They looked up, fear in their eyes. "Hello, Mother. Father. Dylan. Michelle." "Save it. You poisoned me, framed me, tried to erase me. For money. But I survived. I always survive." I placed the legal documents down. You're being sued and criminally charged. The Pentagon's been notified. It's over. Dylan lunged. I sidestepped easily, combat training making him look clumsy. Security pulled him back. You ruined everything, he screamed. We should have gotten rid of you years ago. You tried, but I'm not that scared 16-year-old. I'm the weapon you created by throwing me away. The trial was spectacular. Media circus. I testified first. They invited me home after 13 years, served poison wine, locked me in their cellar to die, because I was inconvenient. Brooke presented everything methodically. The crown jewel was Ethan's recording. Clarissa Langford's voice. Michelle is a liability. Too smart, too resourceful. If she starts digging, she'll find everything. We need a permanent solution. Make it look natural. PTSD, suicide, and accident. Just make sure she's eliminated before the Pentagon completes their review. The courtroom fell silent. Guilty on all counts. Dylan got 25 years. My father suffered a massive stroke in custody, wheelchair-bound, unable to speak. My mother received 15 years house arrest. Langford defense systems collapsed. The empire crumbled to dust. I visited each once. Dylan, through prison glass. Why? He sneered. You were always jealous. This family belonged to me. You were nothing but a disappointment. I was your sister. You were competition. No remorse. I left without looking back. My father sat in his wheelchair, eyes distant. I placed his old army dog tags beside him. I forgave you years ago, Dad. Not for you. For me. Because carrying hate is like drinking poison. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. I hope you understand what you destroyed. A single tear rolled down his cheek. My mother was last. You ungrateful wretch. After everything we gave you. You gave me nothing but pain. I became extraordinary in spite of you. We're still your family. No, family doesn't poison family. You're just people who share my DNA. She grabbed my wrist, desperate. Please, I'm your mother. You stopped being my mother the day you poured poison into my wine glass. You're just Clarissa Langford now, and you'll spend the rest of your life paying for your choices. I pulled free and walked out. I resigned from the Vanguard 3 months later. Alex handed me a new identity packet. You sure? You're one of our best. I've spent 13 years being a weapon. Time to find out who Michelle Hart is when she's not fighting. I found a cabin in Oregon. Adopted a German shepherd named Scout who'd been abandoned. We understood each other. Started days with coffee on the porch, watching sunrise. Spent afternoons building things for joy, not war. Drones for wildlife photography. For search and rescue. For kids' STEM programs at the local library. Why'd you become an engineer? A 14-year-old girl asked once, familiar fire in her eyes. Because my family told me I couldn't. But here's what I learned. You don't build things to prove anything to anyone. You build because you love it. Creation is its own reward. She smiled, and I saw myself at that age. Hungry, brilliant, worthy. The pain faded gradually, replaced by peace. Not absence of hurt. Scars remain, but acceptance. My family's betrayal didn't define me. What defined me was what I chose to do next. One morning, a package arrived. My father's vintage compass engraved. Find your way home. A note in my mother's handwriting. Perhaps we all lost our way. I'm sorry. Too late for reconciliation, but enough for closure. I attached the compass to Scout's collar. Home wasn't the Langford estate. Home was wherever I chose to build it, whether a dog, a workshop, or students who needed someone to believe in them. If this story resonates with you, if you face betrayal from those who should have protected you, know this. You are not alone. Family betrayal cuts deeper than any enemy blade, but surviving it makes you steel. That's true valor. Valor isn't just battlefield courage. It's courage to walk away from toxicity, even when it's blood. Courage to rebuild when everything's destroyed. Courage to define yourself by your own standards. On Valor Voice, we share these stories because someone needs to hear them. Someone is being poisoned emotionally, psychologically by family that should love them. They need to know you can survive, you can thrive. Share your story in the comments. Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. Every week, we bring stories of courage that refuse to be silenced. Stay strong. Stay valorous. The family you choose is worth more than the family that chose to hurt you. I'm Michelle Hart, decorated veteran, survivor, and proud owner of a workshop where broken things get rebuilt into something better. That includes me. Signing off.